I don't want to do that.
Okay, now we need to have the Cheryl set you up. She said that you went on a 3.5-hour hike, and I don't know if you did it we did it in the proper spirit, is what she said. But Tom will tell you all about it. And so here's Tom.
I was gonna say I did the same thing Cheryl did, so she's already told you what.
No, she won't tell me. She said you had the story, and she doesn't want to contradict you.
I really don't want to do this.
You don't want Norma to know, huh?
No, it's not that. It's just I don't have anything really.
A little bit about the trek.
Well, why don't you tell us?
Well, I wasn't there.
We wanted the trek up there. I don't know. I'm not good at this sort of. I'm not a contemporaneous kind of guy.
This is to share with your fellow pilgrims, because we all went different directions, so we have to get, you know.
I shared with my fellow pilgrims a lot last night.
Okay, tell me about last night then, Jay. I hear you were in charge of the Polish communications.
Yeah, with my book, we did the best we could, but we got out of Mass, and it was still early. It was only about 6 o'clock, so we took a cab down into the city. It's about a mile, and then we hit up the first place we saw with a beer tent, neon lights. So we gave it a try, and it turned out to be a pizza parlor, a quaint little joint, but we weren't going to settle for pizza. So we asked the locals and asked around, and it's a great little city down there. I don't recall the name. I know it if I heard it, but anyway, nevertheless, we made a walk over across the way and up a couple blocks to another a little bar, essentially, and ended up there. And when we met some locals who didn't speak a lick of English, I think 10 words between the three of them, pulled out our books and said, where can we eat? And they directed us back to the pizza place. Said, we just came from there. We don't want pizza. We can get pizza anywhere in the world, especially the States. We want pierogies and plumkies and naleśniki and crepes. So they sent us, long story short, the gentleman we finally communicated with, a young fella, and he called his cousin, who was a cab driver, took us to his cousin's restaurant, which was, I don't know, maybe a 5-minute cab ride away, and had outstanding food. And all by the grace of God, I fell into line, and we just got lucky and met a young fella, and through a friend of a friend and a couple of books, a little bit of communication errors, we've made it over for an outstanding dinner.
Great. Now I want to hear another story. Just for anybody that might be watching this and is not familiar with the situation.
Yeah.
Michelle and Jay, brother and sister, joined us at the last minute on this pilgrimage, and they were to arrive 4 hours before us, and we had something all carefully planned for their 4 hours so they could enjoy the Krakow before we got there. And our flight was delayed, and I think it was 14 or 15 hours before we got there. And so we were worried about them, you know. And so tell us how that went, Jay, with our friends at the shuttle place.
Yeah, we got in on time, my sister and I, locally at 12:30, and the shuttle place picked us up, and they were just like a bunch of great, hip, young, fortunately English-speaking kids. By kids, they say, you know, mid to late 20s. Some of them were still students, but they dropped us off in the city. My sister and I walked around for about 3 hours or so, got a bite to eat, and came back and stayed with them while we waited for you. And, you know, you were corresponding with them, letting them know that you were going to be late. And they did extremely hospitable. They made us tea and coffee while we waited, put us up, brought us into their office. And the office is not like you'd imagine a AAA travel agency office. It's a 5th-story walk-up where they plop down 3 desks and a few laptops, sat down. They do their job diligently. They love what they do. And she said for the money they make, they must really love what they do, because they don't make a lot of money, but they make a lot of people very happy. And we had just met him. You know, I hadn't even met you, Mike, but they said if you're a friend of Mike, you're a friend of ours. They took outstanding care of us. We were shocked, just shocked. And they were very, very generous and hospitable. And so much as helping my sister with renting a cell phone, going down 2 blocks to the street so they could translate for us, and getting her a cell phone locally to use while we're here. Getting us set up here, making sure that we were provided for. We had a room when we weren't on the itinerary. They still took care of us, translating to make sure that we had dinner. It was just really a blessing. They're really great kids.
Fantastic. I just want to say this company was started with one person, a friend of mine, and all the people we do business over here are personal friends that we trust, and it's not because of some kind of, we don't care about the bottom line. We'll charge our pilgrims for whatever we have to get the best. And this is one payback. It tells us that we're doing the right thing as far as working with people that we consider good friends. This was started on a shoestring by one of the brothers 5 years ago, and it's grown pretty successfully. So anyway,
they were great. They were great.
Now, Norma, tell us what Tom is hiding from us.
He's got his own little secrets. I don't know. I thought they were going to be gone for 2 hours yesterday. They were gone for 3.5. They claimed it was a long walk, so I'm not sure what they did. Although I'm pretty sure that they did do the walk, but along the way, most of the other pilgrims were going and stopping and praying. And while Tom was teaching Cheryl how to bet, so theirs was a little different.
So, okay. All right, now it's starting to come out. So, were you racing for money, or
What was that?
were you racing for money?
Racing for
Racing with Cheryl down the hills?
No.
Over under.
Yeah, it was an over.
What is an over under?
Oh, I see.
Do you know what an over-under is?
Sorta.
Maybe I'll
Sorta,
have
yeah,
to teach
but-
you. I had to teach her.
I've led
The
a show.
over-under had nothing to do with the walk. It was a bet on when Judy's luggage would arrive. So I used that. This gets far too complicated.
All right. Well, then I got to tell my story. Since
tell
you
yours.
brought that up, and I don't know how this works. Okay.
Film yourself.
Yeah. I think this thing's recording. There was a little chaos here yesterday because Judy's luggage was left in limbo when we had to change planes, and it got a little tense, and I was ashamed of myself for being outspoken about trying to get Judy some clothes and stuff and calm her down. And she wasn't upset, but just to make her feel more comfortable. And anyway, I was just thinking, I was alone after that, and I was thinking if I could speak Polish, I'd go to confession. And this priest came walking up to me, and he says, "I'm Father Bob from Łagiazo," and he said, and he's speaking perfect English, and I said, "Father, will you hear my confession?" And right after I did my penance, the phone rang, and Judy's luggage appeared in Krakow from Munich. So I don't know, you can draw your own conclusions. So we're going to take a little break here now, and